Alrighty. February 23rd, 9:34 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 2. How did the investigation go yesterday, Mr. Wright? Frankly, there are still a lot of gray areas. Or rather, the whole thing is one big gray area. Don't worry about me, no matter what the outcome. I'm ready to accept my fate. I believe in you, sis. Mr. Wright, let me offer you a word of advice. Yes? A defense attorney should never believe their client. Huh? The defendant is called to trial because they are suspected of wrongdoing. Never forget that. Ms. Sky, you remind me a lot of Mia. But there is one decisive difference between you and her. You're alive! And that is? You're not a defense attorney. I believe it's almost time for the trial. Yeah, that's very much a, like, stay in your lane sort of commentary, if I'm being honest. Hang on, I gotta adjust something. My microphone is, like, wiggling around. It does not want to adjust. Oh, there we go. Yay! Okay. Good luck, Mr. Wright. My first trial without a Fae helping me. No one's going to bail me out this time. I'll be alone in there. Except for this girl that's going to be helping me. And the ghost of Mia, who will certainly pop up at some point again. So I have to discover the truth all by myself. Let's do it, Mr. Wright. I'll be with you the whole way. Now, I do assume the reason that she said not to trust your client is because she's trying to say, I confess to it, but I'm not telling the truth. February 23rd, 10 a.m. District Court Courtroom number 9. Courtroom number 9. Court is now in session for the trial of Ms. Lana Sky. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Prosecution has been ready for a while, Your Honor. Edgeworth. Why you gotta make it that kind of thing? It's been 2 months, but I haven't been in a courtroom since his trial. I hope that personal feelings will not be a part of the proceedings today, Mr. Wright. I will choose the path I think is right, regardless of what those around me might say. The judgment to be made here is in our hands, not those of anyone else. As the judge, I kind of think it might be in my hands. Very well, Mr. Edgeworth. Your opening statement, please. Chief Prosecutor, I think there's only one judge left, and that's why trials can't go longer than 3 days. You know, that's a good question that I've had. We've seen different, prosecutors. Admittedly, not that many different. It's been Payne, Edgeworth, and Von Karma. And one of them literally cheats to win cases. So it would not surprise me if there were not more, or if there were not a lot of judges. What's really interesting to me too is there seem to be plenty of defense attorneys that we've engaged with. Like Maya, no defense attorney would accept her case, but the judges all seem to be very few and far between, which I guess is actually pretty normal. But anyway, Chief Prosecutor Lana Sky has committed an unpardonable crime. Not only this, but she was rash enough to commit it in the prosecutor's office lot. You hate to break it to us, but there's more than one judge. Actually, thank goodness. I want a new judge sometimes. Wow, he's much more forceful in person. I suddenly feel like confessing to everything. Oh my gosh, she pushes the pencil stylus into her cheek. Maya is fine and all, but I like Emma. However, she will now pay for her rashness with her life. I sentence her to death. There was a witness to her crime. A professional witness. Whoa, 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 whoa. You can't be a professional witness. Well then, call your first witness, Mr. Edgeworth. You have to wait until the end of the trilogy. One game at a time. The prosecution calls its first witness, Miss Angel Star, to the stand. A cough-up queen? Haven't I seen you somewhere? You ordered the caviar lunch, right? Ho ho, caviar! I've never eaten caviar before! The judge is really wolfing it down. Ah, and for you, I have a fiesta bowl. Are those sprinkles? Thanks. Will the witness state her name and profession? Ah, and you, sir? Did you order the fingerprint lunchbox? It is too early for lunch. Your name and profession, please. Also, the judge is just scarfing down caviar right now. What? What is he doing? Well, Your Honor, how does it taste? So this is why everyone raves about caviar. It's so tasty it hurts. I always thought caviar would taste like pickled tapioca. What the heck does pickled tapioca taste like? Name, profession. Now. Me? The name is Angel Star. Don't go forgetting it. I find myself running Lunchland these days. Is that what you wanted me to say, Mr. Edgeworth? Very well, witness. Please describe the incident to us. The prosecution will wait. I'm not finished eating. Hurry it up. Judge eating sounds. Very well, Mr. Edgeworth. As you know, we usually call on the police to provide the description of the crime. Your Honor, as Mr. Edgeworth has said to the court, I am a professional. Huh? What exactly does that mean? Until 2 years ago, Ms. Angel Star was a special investigator with the police. She was a first-rate homicide detective. Okay, so it's a frame job. She definitely killed him. I thought as much anyway, but this is confirmation. We've got the motive. She obviously would have then known. Okay, so 2 years ago. It's all coming together. Edgeworth's breakout case. Let's see. Marshall being removed from being a detective. It's all coming together, chat, and it smells of burnt toast. What? Miss Star was a detective? Aha! I know who you are. Cough up. Cough up, Queen Angel Star, Your Honor. Long time no see. Very well. You may continue with your description, Ms. Star. Just who is this lady? If I might have the court's attention over here. Oh, is she gonna, like, lean down dramatically? Oh, no, she's got the map. What? Okay, I'm just gonna say this. Being a formal special investigator does not entitle you to be an investigator now and take the place of the detectives. The parking lot at the prosecutor's office is divided into 2 blocks. Block A is for the prosecutor's office personnel. Block B is for visitors and clients, and Lunchland trucks. A chain divider separates the 2 blocks. I suppose that's to keep visitors from taking up prosecutors' spaces, yes? I wouldn't know, I've never been. The crime took place by a car in the back of A block, in the car's trunk. The killer stabbed the victim with his knife and went to drive the body out. Unfortunately for her, there was a witness and an arrest was made on the spot. And who was this valiant witness? Why, it was me, Your Honor. Parking lot floor plans added to the court record. Okay. Witness, did you see the very moment of the crime? Of course, Your Honor. Immediately after that, I apprehended the chief prosecutor. It seems rather cut and dry, doesn't it? Well, Mr. Wright? I can't agree on principle, Your Honor. It seems that some poor losers are unwilling to accept the truth, Your Honor. Yes, poor losers. Shall I proceed to crush what little hope they have remaining? If you can, then give them your worst, Ms. Star. Wait, are they talking about me? Witness's account. Somehow, I always knew a day like this would come. I was on my way to deliver a lunchbox to my boyfriend when I sensed something. Perhaps it was my finely honed detective's intuition at work. Through the wire fence, I saw the chief prosecutor standing next to a garage car. The chief prosecutor was holding a knife in her right hand. Then she thrust the pointy tip of the knife into Detective Goodman's chest. Bringing a lunchbox to your boyfriend. How touching. As you can see, there's no room for doubt. The key point of your testimony seems to be nothing other than the point of the knife which you saw being stabbed into Detective Goodman. So, how does it feel to be so utterly crushed? I'm still thinking about that. It's merely a flesh wound, Mr. Wright. 'Tis merely a flesh wound. She's not off my arm. Very well, Mr. Wright. You may cross-examine the witness. Okay. So. Somehow I always knew a day like this would come. What are you talking about? How did you know? I respect the prosecutor's basic abhorrence of crime. Yet their methods are ugly and twisted. Twisted methods will always lead to tragedy. No, Edgeworth, don't bow to that! The lunch lady's uninformed opinion is duly noted. Given that they are used to erasing inconvenient evidence at their whim, killing off a detective that knew too much is merely an extension of that. Miss Starr, do you have something personal against prosecutors? I felt that I had found my dream job when I became an investigator. And if I hadn't been laid off by those prosecutors over there, I'd still be one. Laid off? She was fired. To me, prosecutors are nothing more than worms. That said, I am a pro, you know. My testimony is unbiased and flawless. Very well. You may continue, Ms. Starr. I was on my way to deliver a lunchbox to my boyfriend. This boyfriend? He's the detective? Not that boyfriend. The security guard. That boyfriend? You have... several? But I thought I was special. Ms. Lunch Lady. Yes, this boyfriend, that boyfriend, and the other boyfriend. Care to join? Oh no! The and yet another boyfriend position is still open for applicants. I'll stick with the lunches, thanks. My only lady is Lady Justice and Caviar. Note self, the judge had to think before replying. The security guard room is in the lot, in A block. It's up on the second level, so you can see everything from there. That would be the room with the security sign. Incidentally, did you bring your lunchboxes by car? Since I'm a visitor now, I parked in B block. So she was in B block when she witnessed the crime. That's what she says. Through the wire fence, let's see. What did you sense? You sensed something. So you're saying you had a premonition of the murder? You saw the final destination? It felt like, how would you say? Oh yes. It was like the feeling you get when you view a pumpkin chock full of seeds. I have no idea what that means. Speaking of a detective's intuition, wasn't the victim, Bruce Goodman, also a detective? Yes, well, he was like a young cheese. Young cheese? I'm going to assume that this is soft, watery, delicate, melty. A pale white cheese, not yet tangy with experience on the streets. A greenhorn. I wasn't wrong. Then it must be hard, yellowed, and sharp as a tack. Yeah, with the odor of an old cheese to match. In any case, in that lot, I felt something stirring in the back of my mind. Through the wire fence, I saw the chief prosecutor standing next to a garish car. The chief was holding a knife in her right hand, and she thrust the pointy tip up. Well, we'll just keep. By garish car, you mean Mr. Edgeworth's car? Yes. Mr. Edgeworth's? Incidentally, the knife with which the victim was stabbed was also Mr. Edgeworth's, wasn't it? Indeed it was. I am wise in the ways of cheese. That is what tyromancy is, after all. Also, cheese is just the best. Everybody needs to go try a new cheese. Doesn't matter what it is, just go find a new cheese. I had a whiskey barrel, like a bourbon infused or aged cheese not too long ago. It was actually a little overpowering as a cheese, but I shredded it and put it in with some potatoes along with some other cheeses, and it got nice and melty. It was very good, very delicious, but added a lot of complexity. I know cheese. What an odd case this is. And the person you saw, you are sure it was the defendant? I saw her from no further than 30 feet away. I am certain it was her. If she's telling the truth, we're doomed. Let's just do what we can. Even if we don't have any proof, we can always nitpick. Witness, in your testimony, you clearly stated the following. Prosecutors are nothing more than worms. Ergo, you are a biased witness. You might want to keep those silly opinions to yourself in the future, rookie. Huh? Rookie? Unless you're willing to risk the consequences of doubting me. I'll fry you like a fritter. Crispy on the outside, chewy on the inside. That was inspiring. I believe I've heard that tagline elsewhere. You could cry plagiarism. I may be relegated to the lowly post of lunch lady, but my instincts are honed. Oh, a photograph. You took this? The moment I witnessed the crime, my reflexes took over, and snap, I took a picture. In fact, one of my lunchboxes is rigged with a camera. I suppose that's more exciting than just hanging it around your neck. Witness, why am I only seeing this photograph just now? You think I'd show it to you, a prosecutor? Think again. My boyfriend, who works in the photography division of criminal affairs. Well, this is most certainly the defendant. Okay, no, we don't have any proof. First of all, wait. She's saying she snapped it, which I don't not believe. But first of all this shows is that she opened the trunk. Uh-oh, that is unmistakably Lana Skye. So what was the defendant doing at the time? That's just ketchup on the coat. Yeah, she went and got out a really big burger. She got the Big Bang burger. The chief prosecutor was holding a knife in her right hand. Tell me more about this knife that the suspect was carrying. Well, I'd say the blade was about 4 inches long. Is that right, Mr. Edgeworth? It is your knife, after all. We're asking Edgeworth about the length of his knife. And, yes, that's about right. He's being coy. Prosecutors are, by nature, well-versed in the location of a man's vital organs. I'm sure it was easier than boiling an egg for my egg salad surprise set. You can't testify as to her ability to kill an egg, I mean a person. Perhaps a chicken salad set would have been a better metaphor. So the defendant was holding a knife. What then? Then she thrust the pointy tip into his chest. Tell the court why you didn't try to stop this crime. You did see her raise the knife to strike, no? The defense has a point. Why didn't you just jump over the fence? Unfortunately, by the time I realized what was going on, it was too late. Too late? Yes. The next moment, the chief prosecutor brought down the murder weapon. I see. It's only a flesh wound, Mr. Wright. We can make it. You said that before. Anything else? Scientifically speaking, Miss Starr's testimony is flawless. Sounds pretty fatal to me. What do we do? Is this it? Is my sister guilty? Let's just keep our heads cool and press the witness a bit, shall we? For some reason, having her panic next to me makes me calmer. Don't smile like that. Okay. So... Alright, let me look at our evidence here. So 1 knife wound. The garish car. The chief prosecutor was holding a knife in her right hand. Oh, wait. So my theory here, right, is the fact that they say this is the moment of the crime, but she's not holding a knife. That's all I got right now. So either that's not the moment of the crime, or she didn't do it. And you witnessed this. You saw Ms. Sky stab the victim with the knife. As I've already said, yes. I swear it on my finest salmon swirl lunch. Okay, I realize we're missing out on some of her stuff here. So I'm going to turn the transparency up, but I'm going to apologize because I will absolutely butcher a lot of the text. Damn, there's a whole thing of sauce in there with that rice. I'm sure that is a fine lunch. But isn't that odd? Look at this photograph. This is the photograph you took of the very moment of the crime, is it not? Then why is Ms. Sky not holding a knife? Ha ha ha! My detective skills are honed. They're sharpened. We're ready to pounce into the maw of Lady Justice. Mr. Edgeworth, your thoughts? Objection. That had to be the weakest objection ever, Edgeworth. Yet it was still stronger than your ever-feeble mind, Mr. Wright. What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? This photograph was not taken the moment before the stabbing. This was taken the moment after the stabbing. Objection! And how can you tell that? Blood splatter. Huh? See the dark crimson stains on the chief prosecutor's coat. But it's a black and white photograph. Yes, it's hard to tell, but this could be blood. Well, Mr. Wright, I see no problem here. No problem, except you. Mr. Wright, are you gonna just sit there and take that kind of abuse? You got a better idea? Objection! Wait, that contradicts what the witness said in her testimony. Namely, that she took the picture the moment she witnessed the crime. Well, it seems I was slightly unclear. My apologies. That's it? If you run out of lunch, you order seconds. Problem solved. If you don't like it, try ordering the jumbo-sized lunch from the get-go. Good advice. I'm not sure I understood it, but good advice. I didn't have time to stop her. Prosecutor Sky was cold, calculating like a robot. She killed without pain or remorse. It was a premeditated murder. Premeditated? How do you know? Look at the chief prosecutor's hands in that photograph. Well, are those gloves? Surgical gloves made of thin rubber, most likely. Why would she have those on? If it was not premeditated, she would not be wearing those gloves. It's February! It's cold outside! Wah! There's plenty of reasons! These gloves do seem to tell a tale of premeditation. Premeditated murder, a serious offense. Witness, add this to your testimony. The murder was planned, the rubber gloves prove it. Hold it. What if she was just in the habit of wearing gloves, like driving gloves? The gloves were admitted as evidence when the defendant was arrested. They were rubber gloves, the kind used for autopsies. In other words, when the chief prosecutor came to the crime scene, she came to do murder. It's the only possible conclusion one can make. No, it's not. Everything was planned. It was a premeditated crime. Except it was evidence transfer day. Arg. Impressive. I'm sorry they took you off the force, Ms. Starr. This is bad. She's got them thinking this was all planned. If she can prove this claim, the trial's already over. I've got to think of a way to show that this wasn't premeditated. It's only a flesh wound. Okay. Alright, so we're back to panicking. Oh. Okay. I meant to stop on that last line, but I thought I miscounted. So she sends something to the wire fence. Murder was planned. The rubber gloves prove it. Except I don't think they do, because if it was premeditated... Oh. Is that my angle? That the car... Well, I mean, the fact that the murder was... Let's see, what else we got here? Interesting, we can slide in the photo. No, I think, I think it's got to be something related to Edgeworth's car. So maybe it's one of these two. Because I pressed that one. I pressed that one. Maybe, did I press this one yet? You sensed, okay, yeah, the premonition. I made my final destination joke. It was very clever. Everyone watching at home laughed. Okay. Through the wire fence. And is the picture taken through a wire fence? It is. Okay. One knife wound. Okay, I think I'm gonna present the parking stub. Nope. Okay. Sure, Matt. I'll take a hint on this one. Objection overruled. Ripperoni. What proves that it wasn't premeditated? Because that's what we got to be doing here is... Also, within an hour and a half of 4 p.m. is weird. That's probably going to be relevant at some point. Maybe it is that photo that your theory was correct, but a different piece of evidence? Okay. So it's either the photo or the knife. I'm going to start with the knife. Okay. Oh, I was so close. I thought the game was going to be tricky to me. Okay. Either way, the theory is the car was not there, the murder weapon was not there. Great. Witness, do you know what this is? Are you trying to test me? I sell boxed lunches for a living, you know. That's a knife. The knife. The knife that was in Mr. Edgeworth's trunk. Indeed, it is my knife. Edgeworth did it! What's with this case? A bloody murder weapon, a red car, all belonging to the prosecutor there. The defendant is the chief prosecutor for the district, right? Mommy, are prosecutors bad people? I like the courtroom chat. Is that a thing that comes up in the future games? Because I'm excited for that. That's nice. That adds flavor. The defense has a request. We ask that the witness provide an accurate testimony. What's that, rookie? In your testimony, you stated that Lana Skye planned this murder, and that's why she was wearing those special gloves. Seems like a natural conclusion to me. The gloves do indicate planning. However, why would she not also prepare the most important thing? The murder weapon. Oh. This knife just happened to be in the trunk of that car. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to plan a murder, don't forget the weapon! Objection? Objection? The prosecution or the court would like to ask the defense not to incite... Oh, it's you don't forget the weapon, not an instruction. Okay. In spirit of justice, the people in the gallery get voice acting? I'm excited for that. That's awesome. Okay. Hug! Warg! Warg! Order, order, order. Great, now the tide is turning in our favor. Great show, Mr. Wright. My sister's as good as free. Oh no, it's that Edgeworth tisk tisk tisk. Right. I believe the next lunch you'll be eating is humble pie. What? I hope you weren't deluding yourself into thinking that the tide has turned over such a trifling detail. But this shoots a hole in the whole premeditated theory. Bah, the prosecution could care less if it was premeditated or not. The only one who seems to care is that lunch lady over there. The defendant, Lana Skye, murdered a detective with a knife. That is the only thing the prosecution need prove. Nothing else. Very good, Mr. Prosecutor. I suppose you think you're clever now. But you know as well as I do that she planned on killing him. It was planned. If it wasn't, why would she have been wearing? I believe I'd like to hear your testimony again. Witness, please tell us only what you saw, not what you thought. How dare you? My powers of deduction are not to be underestimated. Really now? Alright, Angel's deduction. Okay. Lana Skye intended to murder Detective Goodman. That's why she called the victim all the way to the prosecutor's office. I'm sure the chief prosecutor has a grudge against the victim. Nothing else could drive that human machine to plunge in the knife in again and again. The victim was summoned from the police department to the prosecutor's office. It does sound a lot like premeditation, doesn't it? And if the glove fits, you must convict. Yes. So if I ordered a pizza, does that mean I'm planning to kill the delivery boy? In any case, the defense may now cross-examine the witness. All right, I wanna press her on it just because I want to see what she says. Actually, I want to know why she thinks there's a grudge. What kind of grudge? Well, I wouldn't know that. Of course you don't. That's because she didn't have a grudge. Rookie. I have a lunchbox here. Now, what's inside? How am I supposed to know? See, we agree there is a lunchbox here, but we don't know what's inside. A person's life is like a lunchbox with pretzels. Don't you agree? Mama always said, life is like a lunchbox with pretzels. Oh, I get it. That's why my lunch was so salty. This judge isn't very good with metaphors. The suspect had a grudge against Detective Goodman. Will you tell us your basis for thinking this? It's simple. Nothing else could drive the human machine... Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna press it. Human machine? That's a contradiction! Please. Can't you find fault with something of substance, Mr. Wright? Note to self, Mr. Edgeworth's eyes smell like citrus fruit. You say that again and again. How many times did she stab him exactly? We often say chop into 1,000 pieces, but we don't actually mean 1,000 pieces. What difference does it make if the deed is done? How come she's getting mad at me? Let's just say she stabbed him several times and leave it at that. Leave it at that. This is a murder case, people. Mr. Wright, you should speak up if you have an objection, you know? She's turned out to be short-tempered as she looked when we first met her. Challenging her abilities as a detective really set her off. The short wick burns out the fastest. It's a scientific fact. I wonder, wouldn't it depend on the size of the candle? I mean, add more wax and even a really short wick will burn longer. Obviously, more scientific testing is required. Okay, there we go. Pretzels are not dangerous. They are safe. They are delicious. All right. Music stops. We did it. Oops. You say that she stabbed him again and again, but you couldn't have witnessed that. Are you testing me? Then I'll test you. With my moss surprise. Deltarune, we're eating the moss! I'm afraid the moss is growing under our feet as we wait, Ms. Starr. What do you mean? I shouldn't have to explain this, but take a look. The autopsy report states that the death was due to a loss of blood from one stab wound. Aha! You're right. Good show, Mr. Edgeworth. It was my objection! What a hunk. He's my hero, really. What about my objection? No one noticed? Well, witness? You got the crime scene set. You've got the crime scene set, right? I would love a crime scene set. Is that ketchup and a fork? That's a terrible way to eat a rice box. Oh, thanks. I always believed that no one could ever mistake ketchup for blood. But now I realize that such mistakes are possible. So, you're saying you mistook something for blood? When she lifted her knife, I thought I saw blood at her breast. Splattered blood from her victim. That's why I thought she must have stabbed him at least twice. Then tell us what you saw that you thought was blood. Testify. Her red muffler looked like blood to me. That's how ghastly the whole scene was. Does she even have a muffler? I don't think she's got a muffler. Yeah. Also, why are we grilling this? I think it's pretty straightforward to say she's just making stuff up, but... okay. Objection. Ms. Starr, I demand an explanation. The witness is clearly not suited for detective work. Oh, we both object to the same thing. What? The suspect was not wearing a scarf or muffler of any kind when she stabbed the victim. And you've proved it yourself with this photograph. Huh? But that... It can't be! Only a professional lunch lady could be so utterly clueless. Congratulations, perhaps you finally found your true calling in life. Hey, don't disgrace lunch ladies, Edgeworth. They're all smarter than she is. Ha 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 ha! Harsh words, but good. I agree. Professional lunch lady! Verdict rendered. In the end, Mr. Edgeworth prevails. What was my objection? Chopped liver? But it was there. A scarf. No, not that, but something red. Really? It was in my... It was in my making shit up set. Well now, where were we? The witness has given us an entertaining interlude, but back to business. What? Very well, witness. Continue your testimony. You saw the crime and apprehended the suspect. Tell us about that. So I'm just going to point something out here. Which is that... Oh no. I thought he had a scarf. He does have a scarf. But it's not red. Very well. I do remember some things accurately, at least. Ultimately, we couldn't shake the most important part of her testimony. The most important part? The part where your sister stabs the victim. This next testimony might be the moment of truth. I'm excited for when Edgeworth gets to be a defense attorney. After the murder, the suspect attempted to run behind a partition off to her side. I quickly caught her, explained her rights to her, and arrested her on the spot. Ah, yes, when I arrested her, she mentioned the muffler. That's what had me confused in my earlier testimony. The chief prosecutor made to escape, but against Angel's Star, resistance is futile. Boy, she really does have the femme fatale energy. You are quite determined about this scarf, aren't you? I strike like a snake and bite like a cobra. That's me, Angel Star. That wasn't a very good metaphor. First of all, a cobra is a kind of snake. Don't bother me with details unless you want to get bitten. No thanks. Note to self, Mr. Wright is weak against poisonous snake bites. Edgeworth is only a defense attorney for half a case? Aww. That sucks. That's okay. I'm just excited for his games in general, though, because I'm sure they're full of all sorts of shenanigans. Anyway, the chief prosecutor tried to resist, but her efforts were in vain. She knocked my hands aside, kicked over an oil drum. An oil drum? Hard to imagine. Oh, she's beautiful but deadly. A predator, this one. A leopard woman. Rawr. Very well, Mr. Wright. Your cross-examination, if you will. Okay. Well, I think it's about the barrel and hiding behind the... Because if she hid behind the partition from her over there, she'd have to be hiding here, by this telephone. Oh, she didn't do the murder. She found the body, ran to call the telephone, and that's when she was arrested. Anyway, my theory, it trembles. There are no trials, but there are testimonies. Aw. Well, that's okay. We'll get through it. We'll do it for Edgeworth. So she attempted to run behind a partition off to her side. So where is this partition on the floor plans? I'm sure she means that wall next to the car. That's right. There was a wall there, about 6 feet high. She was obviously trying to hide herself. Quite a natural thing for a criminal to do. And what did you do then? Okay. I will, Okay, so... You say quickly. Were you close to the suspect? As I just said, I was only 30 feet away from her the whole time. Maybe I should press her for more details? No, I do want to press her. I'd like to see this on the floor plans, just to be safe. The Lunchland car was... She was a visitor, thus she was parked in B block. So you witnessed the murder from here? That would make it about 30 feet from the car, yes. Is that correct, Ms. Starr? Yes, that's right. But there was a chain link fence in front of you. I went over it, of course. Amazing! The cough-up queen, lunch lady athlete, indeed. It would have taken her a little time to climb over the fence, so she couldn't have gotten to my sister that fast. Yeah, that fence was about 9 feet high, too. So how did Ms. Sky not get away? She mentioned the muffler. What exactly did she say? If I remembered exactly, I would have told you in my testimony. Cheeky. Anyway, all I heard her say was the word muffler. Just that one word? So, what you heard wasn't the suspect talking to you, to someone else? Yes, the chief prosecutor was talking on her phone. Her phone? She can't mean... Yes, ask further. By phone, do you mean the cell phone discovered at the crime scene? Yes, ultimately. Ultimately? My memory... It's like a salmon heading upstream, you see. No, the court doesn't see, Ms. Starr. The chief prosecutor first attempted to use the phone hanging on the wall. On the wall? That's right. Near the car. There was an emergency phone on the wall. Apparently, it was out of order. And so she used her cell phone? Indeed, the emergency phone was out of order that day. Good witnessing, witness! Good witnessing. Whatever happened to good testifying? You should, of course, add this to your testimony. Things I do to please this rookie defense attorney. Okay, so it's updated in the court record. She tried to use the phone on the wall. Okay. She tried to escape. She made it to escape. Can you be more specific? She brushed aside my hand and ran. It was a terrible sight to see, like a dollop of lard on a pate of foie gras. Huh? She even kicked over an oil drum at me. An oil drum? There was an oil drum lying on its side at the scene of the crime. But it's strange. What's that? If she wanted to escape, why didn't she run the other way? The other... the parking lot entrance. That's right! It doesn't make any sense that she would run from behind the partition to the oil drums. Excellent. More mysteries! I wish we could solve a few more before finding more, though. So this guy tried to run. I'm sorry my sister was so suspicious, Miss Wright. Not as sorry as I am. She didn't do it. You have to believe me. Okay. She mentioned the muffler. She tried to use her cell phone instead. So... I'm actually going to present the cell phone here. That's not the right evidence. Okay. Your Honor, what do you think about the witness's statement? I'm not sure it follows. Okay. I was jumping the gun there. I wasn't actually thinking about it. I just assumed that we would say that, you know, why would she have called... I arrested her, she mentioned the muffler. I saw it all. She tried to use the phone on the wall, but had to use her cell instead. Did I not press this? Do you think you could restate your testimony to the court? Aha, I was going to ask the same thing. I'll only say this one time. Listen close, rookies. I think I found your hint, Matt. I appreciate it, though. The chief prosecutor stabbed the victim and ran behind the partition. Then she picked up the emergency phone on the wall, but it was out of order. So she pulled her own cell phone out of her pocket. And during that time, you climbed over the chain link fence. Then, when I boldly grabbed her arm, the chief prosecutor hung up her phone. And you saw her doing this? What is it, Mr. Wright? I assume there may be another hint, which I'm going to imagine is the map? It's interesting that the oil drum disappeared from the testimony. Okay, so she saw this. Allegedly. Alright, we're gonna present that. Yep, I did it! I'm learning Ace Attorney logic. Ms. Starr, I have to conclude that you have a personal grudge against Miss Lana Skye. The witness is a former detective. Her testimony is unmarred by personal bias. Well, who would have thought you would be my knight in shining armor, prosecutor? You, who, together with the chief prosecutor, kicked me out 2 years ago. Well, Ms. Starr, this is a fatal contradiction with your testimony. How do you explain this? I don't know what you're talking about. If this is a thinly veiled jab at me, I didn't hear it and I'm not engaging with it. Mess with me, and I'll make you cough it all up. Ahem. Let's look at the floor plans. You said you witnessed the crime from this point. However, if that's true, you couldn't possibly have seen Ms. Skye making that phone call. I believe you see what I'm getting at. That emergency phone was on the backside of this partition. If indeed you were in B block, you couldn't have seen it. Wow! Foiled again in my lies! Order, what is the meaning of this? It's simple, Your Honor. She's not coughing up lunch, she's coughing up lies! If that's quite a claim, Mr. Wright, perhaps you will allow me a question. Tell us exactly what lie this witness has told the court. Here's where the counterattack begins. I can't afford to get this wrong. The witness lied about... Okay, so. We got a really tight time window for once. Because the car entered the lot at 5:12. Allegedly, the murder happened at 5:15. Allegedly, the word muffler was heard during the call made to Emma at 5:18. We don't have a time on this picture. So, I think that she lied about where she saw it from. She was up on top in the security room where you can see everything. I don't know about the picture, though. The picture seems like there's flaws in it. So it's either maybe that, what she saw. It could also be the order of events. Because she could have tried to place the call on her phone and then hung up and then tried to use the emergency phone, but that doesn't make sense since she hung up when she was arrested, so that seems wrong. So it's got to be what she saw or where she saw it, which are... Ultimately, they're the same thing here. But I'm going to say she lied about... I think it's where. Miss Sky tried to use the emergency phone, but it was out of order. What is significant about this fact? Nothing. Therefore, it would be pointless for Ms. Starr to lie about it. Pointless to lie. I see. But say the witness did actually see Ms. Sky using the emergency phone. It would mean Ms. Starr witnessed the crime from a different location. A different location. Now that's a pointless lie if I ever heard one. Objection! 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 Before you call my lie pointless, at least let me tell it. Let me ask a question to our clever wordsmith, Mr. Wright. Just where was the witness when she saw the crime? All the testimony we've heard until now points in one direction. The place where Ms. Starr witnessed this crime was here. Do you see where she witnessed the crime? That's right! This is the only place where she could have been. The security guard room. Indeed, the security guard room in the underground parking lot is well positioned. It's built on the second floor so you can see the entire lot. She would have been able to see the emergency phone from there. But why there? There are many other places where she could have seen the phone. Not in this case, Your Honor. The witness, not being part of the prosecutor's office, couldn't park in the A block. The only place where she could have seen the crime and the back of the partition is here. I remember in your testimony, you said you brought a lunch to your boyfriend in the security guard room, yes? Well, Ms. Starr? How many years have I been getting the better of men? To think that the tables could be turned. Like some sort of turnabout. Today, a man has gotten the better of Angel Starr. And her bag of infinite lunches. Order. Order. Witness. What have you done? You used to be a detective. You should know better. I'm not turning back. The guilty will be punished, and I'll do what I must to make sure justice prevails. The guilty? Is she talking about Ms. Sky? Mr. Wright, doesn't this strike you as odd? Why did Ms. Starr lie? It doesn't make sense. Huh? She could have just said she saw the crime from the security guard station. It wouldn't change anything. Exactly. This photograph tells all. It was the defendant who stabbed the victim. That truth still stands. No, it doesn't. It still stands. I disagree, Mr. Edgeworth, because she said she took the photo. She couldn't have. What? If a witness is found to be lying, they're guilty of perjury. She knows this. She wouldn't risk that without a good reason. So tell us what her reason was, Mr. Wright. Huh? Me? Who else? Mr. Wright, let's review what we know. Ms. Starr witnessed the crime from the security guard station. But she lied and said she saw it from B block. It must make a vital difference. But what? What would change? The distance and angle. Difference in lighting sounds not correct. I'm just gonna look at the photo again. Yeah, it's not like this is a greatly composed shot. So it wouldn't make it... Unless difference in lighting is the reference to, like, taking a picture? Would that actually make a difference in her distance to the crime? Yes, she would be much closer and would not have to scale the fence. Which is relevant because she was... Yep, it changes the distance between her and the scene of the crime. My condolences, Mr. Wright. One look at the floor plans and it's quite clear. The distance between the scene of the crime and the guard station is 30 feet. I don't see how that would change what she could see. What she saw is not in question here. What matters is the time it would take her to reach the scene of the crime. I'm with you, Potato, on like the angle being the photograph, but we're not there yet. We haven't gotten to that part. We're questioning the arrest itself first, and then we're going to work backwards and then accuse her of murder. Miss Starr, you witnessed the crime from the security guard station. Now, how long did it take you to go from there to the scene of the crime where you arrested Ms. Skye? Well, witness, yes? You ordered the squid wheels, right? The quality of my lunches has gone from low to inedible. I was bringing a PB&J lunch with fresh boysenberry jam to my boyfriend. Boysenberry. For the boyfriend. There's significance in that fact, I just know it. He wasn't in the station, so I waited. I witnessed the crime from the glass-walled station. And before I knew what I was doing, I found myself running towards the scene. But the door was locked. I couldn't open it. Whoa! Holy moly! That's an insane amount of time. That's why I had to go through the visitors' parking in B block. That's quite a detour. It probably took me at least 5 minutes to get to the scene of the crime. 5 minutes? Ah, here we go. We're gonna get the timing. This changes things considerably. But it was that woman over there in the defendant's chair who stabbed him. I know it. I have photographic evidence. I swear it. I swear it on my finest plastic spork. You have a point. The spork is a wonderful invention. Indeed. Would you like another caviar lunch? Objection, Your Honor. She's trying to bribe you. Absolutely. Uh-oh. Mr. Wright, you have to do something. Do I have any evidence to stop this? Yes, I do. 5 minutes between the witnessing of the murder and the arrest. Think about it. You could make pasta in that amount of time. If you like it al dente. I've got lunchboxes that tie pasta into knots, rookie. A 5-minute blank. Isn't that strange? Strange. If you were a criminal, what would you do with your 5 minutes, Your Honor? Well, I guess I'd flee the scene. Hey! Don't get the wrong idea. I didn't kill anyone! But you have the instincts of a killer. You would run! But this time was different. I'm sorry, But you have the instincts of a killer. You eat caviar. You're a Bond villain waiting. You would run, but this time was different. Ms. Skye dawdled at the scene of the crime, and she even had her picture taken. No true criminal would act this way. It's inconceivable. God. Well then, it seems we've come to the end of this testimony. The witness has a grudge against the defendant and a blank in her testimony. Mr. Edgeworth is the next witness ready to go. Unfortunately, I appear to have overestimated this witness on account of her professional history. Get it? We screwed that can shut, Mr. Wright! That was too close. I'm afraid that the cough-up queen has been dethroned. Why, in fact, Mr. Wright, I believe we could call you the cough-up queen. And with that, court is adjourned. Hold it. Oh, hold it. Mr. Edgeworth, you ordered the squid wheels, right? That's the one she tried to foist off on me. I prefer not to take the defense team's leftovers. Anything else to say? I might be able to save you. I have decisive evidence. What was that? Is this another one of her trick lunchboxes? My apologies, but we have no further questions to ask of you, Ms. Starr. Aww. Is this your jumbo lunchbox? Woohoo! A triple-decker! Out of deference to the witness's determination, I'll allow one more testimony. Let's hear about this decisive evidence. Like the Lunchland motto says, you won't be disappointed. What's she going to pull out of her lunchbox this time? Who gets to give 3 testimonies lying through their teeth like this? I should have mentioned those 5 minutes when I wasn't looking at the crime scene. And now to the matter of the victim's shoe. Did I not bring this up? 2 types of blood were found on this shoe. One was, of course, the victim's, and the other blood type matched that of the defendant, Ms. Lana Skye. This shoe proves it. It's flawless, decisive evidence. What? There was blood found on that shoe? Try Lunchland for all your lunch and decisive evidence needs. It's a big lunchbox. How could you not? Oh no, she had that lunchbox in the shoe? Witness, what's the meaning of this? Why is this the first time I've heard of this evidence? Simple. As I've already said, I don't trust you with evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. That's why I took the liberty of investigating this myself. And you had blood tests performed? Didn't I mention? One of my boyfriends works at the phlebotomy lab. If that's what it is, I'm gonna lose it. I have 3 boyfriends in forensics. Well, I wasn't right. I thought it was 1 boyfriend. In any case, Your Honor, I can't accept this as evidence. What? You must know the 2 rules of evidence law. Rule number 1. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. In other words, this shoe is illegal evidence, at least for the time being. Is that right, Mr. Wright? It seems so. Edgeworth sure is celebrating. Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. Don't forget, I used to be a detective. As I mentioned previously, this shoe has already been tested by a member of the forensics department. As you can see, it was approved by the police department as of today. It never matters what the evidence we provide. Technically, we aren't providing new evidence. A lot of the turnabouts are just looking at the existing evidence in a different way. It's not fair. They just keep pulling out new evidence, Your Honor. Even if the general public can produce official evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. Is that right, Mr. Wright? It seems so. Edgeworth is looking pretty sullen. Phoenix, did you not go to law school? You could at least study some evidence law, really. Agreed! The prosecution's complaints notwithstanding, it appears that this evidence satisfies the first rule of evidence law. However, it seems you have yet another count against you, witness. Anything to ensure the guilty are properly judged. I understand I get 5 strikes. Why does she get so many strikes? Very well, Mr. Wright. You may cross-examine the witness. But first, I gotta examine that shoe. Let me get a good look at it. Let me get a good look at the shoe. This blood, it's my sister's, right? It appears so. Lana's right hand was bandaged when I saw her in jail. She must have cut herself at the time of the crime. Poor sis. Okay. I see. Oh, there's blood here too! On the sole of the shoe? That's gotta be the victim's. He must have stepped in a puddle of his own blood. All this blood, it's horrible. This blood might be an important clue. Okay, I think that's everything that we're gonna get from the shoe. Although I do question, like, when did you get her shoe? When I wasn't looking. And, well, she's still dodging. Why did you lie about those 5 minutes? I guess you could say I just wanted people to look at the results. The results? How many times do I have to say this? I saw the chief prosecutor stab the victim before my very own eyes. Compared to that, a 5-minute blank means nothing. Then why didn't you just tell the truth? Don't make me laugh. We're dealing with the most untrustworthy of the vile lot known as prosecutors. Falsified evidence, arranged testimonies, erasing and manipulating evidence. When you fight monsters, you need to use every trick in the book. This is when the suspect is admitting she did it. But false testimony is the most despicable crime of all, Ms. Starr. I think that's like rule number 8 of the detective code. False testimony is the most despicable crime. Let's just get this over with. Okay. And you found this shoe at the scene of the crime? Time to sniff the shoe to tell if it's really the prosecutors. Edgeworth, give me a moment. I need to do some testing. As I detained the chief prosecutor and notified the police department. Wanted to make myself useful, I was waiting for the police to arrive. So, like an ill-trained pooch, you snuck off with a shoe. I was afraid someone would erase the chief prosecutor's blame. This shoe was my secret weapon if that should happen. See this fashionable basket I have here? It carries more than lunchboxes, gentlemen. I'm happy for you and your lunchbox bag, really. In any case, you removed valuable evidence from the scene of the crime. Now, tell us what you did next. Well, yeah, of course, Potato. That's part of the thorough testing. 2 types of blood were found on this shoe. One was, of course, the victim's. So you brought it to the forensics department. If you're going to submit something as evidence in court, you need it approved. To do that, evidence must be analyzed by a forensics expert. And she got away with her little coup because she used to be a detective. The shoe does appear to have bloodstains on it. Well, the man was stabbed, after all. And that blood belonged to the victim, Detective Goodman. As I said, there were 2 types of blood found on the shoe. And the other blood type was that of the defendant. You can't say for sure that the blood belonged to the defendant with a blood test. You claim to know something about blood tests, rookie. Huh? Well, speak up. Well, blood comes in 4 types, A, B, O, and AB. However, you can't tell from a blood test whether a murder was committed in cold blood. I studied English. That's just a figure of speech, Mr. Wright. Actually, we can differentiate between millions of types of without the blood tests out there, which means that we can more or less narrow any sample of blood down to just one person. Or so I hear. That's pretty specific. If I had a little more time, I would have gotten DNA test results. But they said there's very little doubt it could be anyone but Ms. Lana Skies. So the suspect's blood was found on the victim's shoe. That ties her directly to the death of Detective Goodman. I was afraid he was going to say that. This shoe proves it. It's flawless, decisive evidence. Can't let this evidence go through without a fight. You ordered the peppered fish guts, right? Some like it hot, Mr. Wright. Some, like your client, she's in enough hot water to make a whole vat of soup. Mr. Wright, do you or don't you have a problem with this shoe? A problem? This is critical. Is there a problem with the shoe? There is a problem. If I'm not imagining things, I'd say there is one critical problem with this evidence. A clear contradiction. So, my take for the contradiction, right, is if he was stabbed and then loaded into a trunk, when would he have stepped in his own blood? And how is this, like, when was she injured? That's not been part of this. That gleam in your eyes. You're still young, rookie. I'd give you a peppered fish gut now. But you couldn't take the heat, could you? Let's hear what Mr. Wright has to say. What is contradictory about the victim's shoe? Show us the problem with this evidence. So, I guess we assumed the blood on the top was hers? But I'm going to point out the blood. I wonder if you noticed. There's blood on the bottom of this shoe. Don't mess with me, rookie, or it'll be your blood on the bottom of my shoe. Indeed, there's quite a bit of blood on the bottom of the shoe. It makes sense. The victim was stabbed with a knife. People bleed from that. That's terrible. What could possibly be contradictory about blood on the bottom of his shoe? Let's see. Is it that there wasn't a pool of blood there? Death due to loss of blood. Yeah, I think it's gotta be that, right? Evidently not. Oh, there we go, the music stopped. Okay. The problem lies in the footprint. The footprint. Note that the bottom of the victim's shoe is covered in blood. Then, isn't it strange? Why weren't any bloody footprints found by the scene of the crime? Aha. As you can see, there were no traces of any such footprints at the scene of the crime. That contradicts your claim about this shoe! I'm in the picture now! Objection! This picture only shows part of the floor, so there could have been bloody footprints. Objection! There's no blood, period! Then where are they, Mr. Edgeworth? Because we checked the scene and found nothing of the sort. Order, order, order! Will witness? What? Great going, Mr. Wright, but it's true that the lack of a footprint is a contradiction. Then we have to ask why there wasn't a footprint. Oh, that's true. There has to be a reason why there wasn't a footprint. Think, Mr. Wright, think. Hey, now I don't know why it's not there. I'm just good at finding contradictions. What? Hold it. I see. Now I get it. Get what? Our witness is more devious than I gave her credit for. We were hoodwinked to the very end. But she slipped. There is one vital hint to the truth in her testimony. What are you talking about? Think back to when she told us about apprehending the suspect. The chief prosecutor tried to resist, but her efforts were in vain. She knocked my hands aside, kicked over an oil drum. Oh, she's beautiful but deadly. A predator, this one. A leopard woman. Roar! I thought it was a strange thing for the normally cool-headed chief to do. No kidding. Now, witness, allow me to ask a very simple question. This oil drum, was it empty? Oh, that. I'm not sure I like your attitude, Mr. Edgeworth. Though apparently you're not the slowest conveyor belt in the lunchbox factory. Witness. Well, was the oil drum empty? And did this box come from a factory? I thought it was handmade with love and then shipped overseas. The oil drum kicked over by the chief prosecutor was brimming with water. Water? What does that mean? Still don't get it, Mr. Wright. Do you want to know the reason she knocked it over? The real reason? Aha, you don't mean. Yes, the suspect knocked over that oil drum for one reason and one reason alone. To erase the bloodstains that would become evidence against her. Warg! Except... That ties things up quite nicely. The bloodstains left on the victim's shoes tie her quite clearly to this murder. Then, after the deed was done, she knocked over the oil drum to erase the telltale signs. Why, that's a prosecutor's specialty, erasing evidence. That reminds me, Ms. Sky's right hand was hurt. Didn't she say she'd cut herself when she stabbed him? So that's when my sister's blood got on the shoe? Well, I see no reason to prolong this trial. Mr. Wright, do something, please! What? What can I do? Okay, Phoenix. I'm going to again emphasize this picture where the oil drum is standing upright. This is before she kicked it over. Well, what? What can I do? Your sister has confessed to the crime and she tried to conceal it. But... Enough. There is no need for further debate. The verdict, Your Honor. Very well. But Angel Star is on the prosecution's side. She could have been lying about the water. This court finds the defendant, Ms. Lana Sky. Can I object? Hold it. From her. Oh, little girl, what did you just say? Huh? Me? Did you say that I, Angel Star, was on the prosecution's side? Well, yeah, you are. You're saying my sister hid evidence by erasing the bloody footprints. Well, I thought you'd had your fill, but here you are demanding a second helping. Another lunchbox. A lunchbox called evidence. Wait, witness, don't tell me you have something else. The time for deliberations is past. Any further comments and you will be held in contempt of court. Your threats don't scare the cough-up queen. Look at this! Oh! Ho! You were right, Potato, the car muffler. Photograph. I had it just in case anyone had the gall to suggest that the white shoe didn't belong to the victim. I see no room for error in this evidence. Mr. Wright, wait! Look at the asphalt in this photo! Hey, it's clearly wet! Erasing the last trace of doubt from the court's mind. Immediately after the murder, the crime scene was washed with water. I'm sorry, Mr. Wright. I guess I couldn't help after all. It's not your fault. I knew I couldn't win this case from the beginning. I think I'm washed as an attorney, just like those footprints were washed away. And it seems this is what your sister wanted anyway. No, it's not. There's a contradiction here. I'm sorry, Mia. Right. Wet or not, don't be so quick to throw in the towel. Get yourself up off the asphalt. Take another good look. Don't give up. Not until the bitter end. This is the last piece of evidence. Very well. This time I'd like to declare a verdict for good. Objection! Ha ha ha! We're objecting on the basis of objections! Your Honor, wait. What is it with you people? Can't I hand down my verdicts in peace anymore? Whatever it is, can it wait? No, it can't. Then it will be too late. Look at this photograph. Every time I do, I laugh. The last one submitted. This trial isn't over until we give each piece of evidence proper consideration. So, Wright, are you saying there's a problem with this latest piece of evidence? Yeah, I'll think later. Yeah, there's a problem. Right or wrong, I've got to go ahead with this. I suppose since we've come this far, we should give every claim a fair shake. Well, Mr. Wright? Show the court the problem in this photograph. So, what's the problem? Obviously, that's not how the body was found when it was drawn in rope. The shoe isn't on his foot. That doesn't make it his. We can't see the other shoe. The floor is wet. There's a lot of problems with this picture. So I'm going to start with the body. I'm going to see if that is it. Well, it's probably here, don't you think? As your elder, Mr. Wright, let me give you a piece of advice. When you point at something, at least remember to keep your eyes open. I believe he's trying to say that no one's falling for your bluffs, Mr. Wright. Open your eyes, Mr. Wright. Think scientifically. I suppose if we... Okay. At least they give me multiple chances. So, contradiction here is that he's not wearing the shoe, I guess? But that muffler, it's gotta come up. Well, okay. I don't know, there's so many things wrong with it. Everything is wrong with it. There. Oh! No? Okay, maybe it is the muffler. Because there's really nothing else. The problem with the evidence is here. What's this? There's something poking out of the car's muffler. Wait just a moment, Mr. Edgeworth. Your Honor, you just said muffler. You just said muffler. Why would you say that word? That's what the killer said. Edgeworth, you did it! However, I see no trace of a muffler or scarf of any kind in this photograph. A muffler is also a part of a car or motorcycle, Your Honor. Just think of it as Part of the exhaust system. A pipe. I see. And I see. What's that suspicious-looking cloth sticking out of the car's muffler? So what if there's something sticking out of the muffler? What does that have to do with this case? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Edgeworth probably keeps it in there for kicks. Objection. Sorry, Ms. Starr, but it's not going to be that easy. In fact, you've already told us why this is important to the case. You said as much in your testimony. What? Let's hear what Mr. Wright has on his mind. Tell us why you think this piece of cloth in the muffler is related to this case. Duh. Ms. Starr, recall your testimony for the court. Ah, yes, when I arrested her, she mentioned the muffler. That's why she had me confused in my earlier testimony. Muffler. Could it be that the muffler you heard mentioned was actually this exhaust pipe? If so, that means this piece of cloth is vital evidence. Oh! She screams. Well, it seems we will have to suspend the proceedings. Suspend? I find myself wondering about that piece of cloth. If we leave any question unanswered here, we do a disservice to the law. Have the car at the crime scene inspected at once and bring me that cloth. The verdict will wait until we've seen all the evidence. Agreed? I suppose so. Whew, that was close. But we made it. At least for now. This court will adjourn for a 30-minute recess. It's lunchtime, after all. He's still hungry? To be continued.